Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to put Magic the Gathering's Game Night to the test. We'll be playing these 5 decks using the Star variant to save a little time, and that variant works such that each color's oppositional colors, so in the case of white for example, their oppositional colors are black and red, are the only opponents for that color, and a particular deck wins when they knock out both decks of their opposing colors. We'll start by rolling some dice to see who goes first. Black rolls a 7. Red rolls a 10. Green rolls a 9. White rolls snake eyes. And blue rolls a 5. Red will be going first. They'll draw 7 cards. They draw a Dragon Fodder, Havoc Devils, Welder Automaton, Mountain, Goblin Instigator, Gutter Snipe, and Seismic Elemental. With only 1 land, we can't keep this, so we will use our free mulligan since this is multiplayer. Red draws a Volley Veteran, Havoc Devils, Mountain, Welder Automaton, Mountain, Bombard, and Mountain. I think this is not a great hand, but it is a keepable one, so we will do so. Green draws a Forest, Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, Thrashing Brontodon, Llanowar Elves, Forest, Talons of Wildwood, and Forest. I think this is a keepable hand, especially with the ramp and the payoffs, so we will do so. White draws a Bright Reprisal, a Benelish Marshal, a Serra Angel, Plains, Aerial Responder, Plains, and Militia Bugler. Unfortunately, the 2 Plains aren't going to get to cast any of these cards here, so I think we're going to ship this back and use our free mulligan. Now they draw a Plains, a Fanbearer, a Plains, an Everdawn Champion, Valiant Knight, and Plains. This is a much more keepable hand, so we will do so. Blue draws 1 with a Machine, Skilled Animator, Island, Scholar of Stars, Island, Air Elemental, and Gearsmith Guardian. This is a lot of expensive spells and only 2 islands, so we will return this and use our free mulligan. Now they draw a Wall of Mist, Island, Claustrophobia, Whirler Rogue, Scholar of Stars, Snarethopter, and Island. This is not a significantly better hand, but because blue can cast this Wall of Mist, we will hold on to this and hope that we draw more lands. Black draws a Rot Hulk, a Doom Dissenter, Graveyard Marshal, Swamp, 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 and Swamp. We have 2 2-drops, and so I think that this is a keepable hand. Because it's multiplayer, we'll all draw on our first turn. Red draws a Goblin Trashmaster, will play a Mountain, and red will pass the turn. Green draws a Nissa's Revelation, will play a Forest, will tap the Forest and play a Llanowar Elf. Llanowar Elves is a 1/1 Elf Druid, and you can tap to add green, and then green will pass the turn. White draws a Luminous Bombs, will play a Plains, will tap the Plains and play a Fanbearer. It is a 1/2 zombie with 2 tap target creature, and white will pass the turn. Blue will draw an island, will play the island, and then blue will pass the turn. Black draws a Gruesome Fate, will play the swamp, and then black will pass the turn. Red draws, gets a mountain, plays the mountain. Red will spend 2 mana, and then cast a Welder Automaton. It is a 2/1 construct artifact creature. For 3 in a red, Welder Automaton deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then red will pass the turn. Green untaps. Green draws, gets a Howling Golem. Green will play a Forest, and then green will spend 3 mana, tapping the Llanowar Elves for green, and then will cast a Thrashing Brontodon. It is a 3/4 dinosaur, and for 1, you can sacrifice Thrashing Brontodon and then destroy target artifact or enchantment. Then green will pass the turn. White untaps. White draws, gets a Mesa Unicorn. White will play a Plains, will tap both of the Plains and then play the Mesa Unicorn. It is a 2/2 Unicorn with lifelink. And then white will attack black with the Fanbearer for 1. Black cannot block, will take 1 and go to 19. Then white will pass the turn. Blue draws, gets a Favorable Winds. Blue will play an island, and then blue will tap both of the islands and play the Wall of Mist. It is a 0/5 wall with Defender. and then blue will pass the turn. Black draws, gets a swamp, will play the swamp, will spend 2 mana to cast the Graveyard Marshal. It is a 3/2 zombie soldier, and for 2 and a black, you can exile a creature from your graveyard to create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps, red draws, gets a Howling Golem, red plays a mountain, and then red will spend 3 mana to cast the Howling Golem. It is a 2/3 artifact creature golem. Whenever Howling Golem attacks or blocks, each player draws a card. And then red will pass the turn. Green untaps, green draws, gets a forest. Green will play the forest. Green will spend 4 mana and cast Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma. It is a 4/3 legendary bear. Creature spells you cast with power 4 or greater cost 2 less to cast. Whenever Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma attacks, each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. And then green passes the turn. White untaps, white draws, gets a Mentor of the Meek. White will play a Plains, and then white will spend 3 mana and play Mentor of the Meek. It is a 2/2 human soldier. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Then white will attack black with the Mesa Unicorn for 2. Black will not block, will take 2 and go to 17. White gains 2 life off the lifelink, going up to 22. And then white will pass the turn. Blue untaps, blue draws, gets an Air Elemental. Blue will play the island, and then blue will spend 2 mana to cast Favorable Winds. It is an enchantment. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1, and then blue will pass the turn. Black draws, gets a Zulaport Cutthroat. Black should have untapped, and then will play the swamp, and then black will spend 2 mana and play the Doomed Dissenter. It is a 1/1 human. When Doomed Dissenter dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps, red draws, gets a Dragon Fodder. Red will play a mountain. Red will spend 3 mana and cast Bombard. It is an instant. Bombard deals 4 damage to target creature, targeting the Mentor of the Meek at white. White loses the Mentor of the Meek. Then red attacks white with the Welder Automaton and the Howling Golem. When Howling Golem attacks, each player will draw a card. Red draws a Goblin Motivator. Green draws an Avatar of Growth. White draws a Plains. Blue draws a Zahid, Jinn of the Lamp. Black draws a Cruel Revival. White will decline to block, take 4, and go to 18. Red will spend 1 mana to cast a Goblin Motivator. It is a 1/1 Goblin Warrior, and it has the ability tap target creature gains haste until end of turn. And then red will pass the turn. Green untaps. Green draws. Gets a forest. Green will play the forest. Green will spend 2 mana to cast Talons of the Wildwood, targeting the Thrashing Brontodon. It is an enchantment aura. It says enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. And for 2 and a green, you can return Talons of the Wildwood from your graveyard to your hand. The Thrashing Brontodon is now a 4/5. And then green will attack blue with Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, and will attack black with the 4/5 Thrashing Brontodon. When Goreclaw is attacking, each creature with power 4 or greater, that's the Thrashing Brontodon and Goreclaw, gains +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. Blue declines to block, will take 5 and go to 15. Black declines to block, will take 5 and go to 12. Green will then spend 2 mana to cast Avatar of Growth. This is a 4/4 elemental avatar. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent you have. There are 4 opponents, so it's reduced by 4. Goreclaw also reduces it by 2, but the maximum discount is 4. And it has trample. When Avatar of Growth enters the battlefield, each player searches their library for up to 2 basic land cards, puts them onto the battlefield, and then shuffles their library. So green will look for 2 basic lands. There's 2 forests. We'll put them on the battlefield and we'll shuffle. White searches up 2 cards. Shuffles. Blue searches up 2 lands. Shuffles. Black searches up 2 lands. Shuffles. Red searches up 2 lands. Shuffles. And then with the remaining mana, green will tap them all and play a Howling Golem. And then green will pass the turn. White untaps. Draws. Gets a Gallant Cavalry. White will play a Plains. White will spend 4 mana and cast Gallant Cavalry. It is a 2/2 human knight with vigilance. And when Gallant Cavalry enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Here's our knight with vigilance. And then white will attack red with the Mesa Unicorn for 2. Red declines to block, will take 2 and go to 18. White gains 2 from the lifelink and goes back to 20. And then white will pass the turn. Blue untaps. Blue draws, gets an island. Blue will play that island. Blue will spend 3 mana and cast Claustrophobia, targeting Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma. It is an enchanted creature. When Claustrophobia enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Goreclaw becomes tapped and cannot untap. Then blue will pass the turn. Black untaps, draws, gets a Blood Divination. Black will play a Swamp. Black will spend 2 mana to cast the Zulaport Cutthroat. It is a 1/1 human rogue ally. Whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Then black will spend 4 mana and cast Blood Divination. It is a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Will sacrifice the Doom Dissenter and will create a 2/2 zombie creature token. When the Doom Dissenter was sacrificed, that triggers the Zulaport Cutthroat. Each opponent will lose 1 life, and we will get 1 life. So we go up to 13. Red goes down to 17. Green goes down to 19. White goes down to 19. Blue goes down to 14. And black will draw 3 cards. Black draws a Swamp, and a Lord of the Accursed. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps. Red draws, gets a mountain. Red will play the mountain. Red will spend 2 mana and cast Dragon Fodder. It's a sorcery, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. And then red will spend 4 more mana and cast a Goblin Trashmaster. Other goblins you control get +1/+1, and you can sacrifice a goblin to destroy a target artifact. So these are all now 2/2s, and red will pass the turn. Green untaps. Green draws, gets an Elvish Rejuvenator. Green will play the Forest, and then green will spend 7 mana and cast Nissa's Revelation. It says scry 5, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you draw cards equal to its power and then gain life equal to its toughness. We'll scry 5. We will put Gas Spark Twins on top. We'll put Rabid Bite on top of that. Overcome next. We will put the Howling Golem at the bottom and leave Seek the Wilds after Overcome. Then we'll reveal the Gas Spark Twins. It is a 7/7, so green will draw 7 cards and then gain 7 life. They draw a Colossal Dreadmaw, a Reclamation Stage, a Forest, Seek the Wilds, Overcome, and Rabid Bite. And then we will gain 7 life to go up to 26. And then at the end of the turn, we have to discard a card. So we will discard the Elvish Rejuvenator. And then green will attack blue with the Thrashing Brontodon and the Avatar of Growth for 4 and 4 apiece. Blue will block one of them with Wall of Mist and take 4 to go to 10. And then green will pass the turn, discarding the Elvish Rejuvenator. Before the end of green's turn, white will spend 2 mana and tap the Fanbearer to tap the Goblin Trashmaster. The Trashmaster's tapped. Then white untaps. White draws, gets a Dwarven Priest. White will play the Plains. White will spend 4 mana to cast Valiant Knight. It is a 3/4 human knight. Other knight creatures you control get +1/+1. and makes these two 3/3s. And then for 3 and white, knights you control gain double strike until end of turn. With the remaining 3 mana, white will cast the Everdon Champion. It is a 2/2 human soldier. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Everdon Champion. White will not attack this turn and will pass. Blue untaps. Blue draws. Gets a switcheroo. Blue will spend 4 mana and cast the Whirler Rogue. It is a 2/2 human rogue artificer. When Whirler Rogue enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. You can also tap 2 untapped artifact creatures you control, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. Because of the favorable winds, these Thopters are 2/2s, and then blue will pass the turn. Black untaps. Black draws. Gets a Fleshbag Marauder. Black will play a Swamp. Black will then spend 3 mana to cast Lord of the Accursed. It is a 2/3 zombie, and other zombies you control get +1/+1, making this a 3/3 and this a 4/3. And then black will spend 3 more mana and cast Fleshbag Marauder. It is a 3/1 zombie warrior. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. Black will sacrifice a zombie token, and that will trigger the Azul per Cutthroat, so black will gain 1 life. Red sacrifices a goblin and will lose 1 life. Green sacrifices the Llanowar Elves and loses 1 life to go to 25. White sacrifices the Mesa Unicorn and goes to 18. Blue sacrifices the Whirler Rogue and goes to 9. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps. Red draws. Gets a Tormenting Voice. Red will spend 4 mana and cast Volley Veteran. It is a 4/2 Goblin Warrior. When Volley Veteran enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature an opponent controls equal to the number of goblins you control. We have 4 goblins, so we will target the Valiant Knight. The Valiant Knight takes 4 damage and dies. And then red will pass the turn. Green untaps. Green draws. Gets a Galta Primal Hunger. For 2 mana, green will cast Galta Primal Hunger. It is a 12/12 legendary Elder Dinosaur. Galta Primal Hunger costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. Green controls 13 power of creatures, so it just costs 2. And it has Trample. Then green will spend 2 mana and cast Seek the Wilds. It is a sorcery. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. We look at all of these cards. We will take the forest and put it into our hands. We'll put all of the rest on the bottom with the forest at the bottom, Seek the Wilds at the second bottom, and Evil Construct right before that. Green will play the forest. Green will spend 3 mana and then cast Reclamation Sage. It is a 2/1 Elf Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy a target artifact or enchantment. It will destroy the Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia goes to the graveyard, and then green will pass the turn. White untaps. White draws. Gets an Always Watching. White will spend 3 mana to cast Always Watching. It is an enchantment. It says non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance, making this a 2/3 Vigilance, this a 3/3 Vigilance, this a 3/3 Vigilance, and this remains a 2/2 Vigilance. And then white will spend 3 mana and cast Dwarven Priest. It is a 2/4 Dwarf Cleric. When Dwarven Priest enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. White controls 5, they'll gain 5 life to go to 23. And then white will attack red with the 3/3 Everdon Champion. Red declines to block and will take 3 to go to 13. Then white will pass the turn. Blue untaps. Blue draws. Gets an island. We'll play the island. Blue will spend 5 mana and cast Switcheroo. You can exchange control of 2 target creatures. We will trade a Thopter for Galta. Green gets a Thopter. Blue gets Galta. And then blue will pass the turn. Black untaps. Black draws. Gets a Languish. Black will play a Swamp. Black will spend 3 mana to exile the Doomed Dissenter and then get a 2/2 zombie creature token. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps. Red draws. Gets a mountain. Red will spend 2 mana to cast Tormenting Voice. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, draw a card. We'll discard the mountain. Draw 2 cards. We'll draw 2 cards. Red draws another mountain and a Act of Treason. Red will play the mountain, and then red will tap 4 and cast Havoc Devils. It is a 4/3 devil with trample, and then red will pass the turn. Green untaps. Green draws. Gets a forest. Green will play the forest. Green will spend 2 mana and cast Rabid Bite, having the Brontodon target the Lord of the Accursed. In response, black will spend 5 mana and cast Cruel Revival. It's an instant, destroy target non-zombie creature. It can't be regenerated. Return up to 1 target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand, targeting the Thrashing Brontodon. In response to that trigger, green will tap 1 forest and sacrifice the Thrashing Brontodon to destroy target artifact or enchantment. That will cause the Talons of the Wildwood to go into the graveyard as well, and we will target the Thopter token that blue has. Thopter dies. Cruel Revival fizzles because there's no target for it, and similarly the Rabid Bite fizzles. Green will play the forest, will tap 7 and cast the Gaspark Twins. It is 7/7 Treefolk with trample, and it can block an additional creature each combat, and then green will pass the turn. White untaps. White draws, gets a Militia Bugler. White will spend 3 mana and play the Militia Bugler. It is a 2/3 human soldier with vigilance. When Militia Bugler enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature with power 2 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. We'll look at the top 4. Plains, Knightly Valor, Dwarven Priest, and Cleansing Nova. The only card from among them we can take is the Dwarven Priest. We'll put it into our hand. After revealing it, then we will shuffle these and put them on the bottom. And then white will spend 4 more mana and cast another Dwarven Priest. We'll gain 7 life to go up to 30. And then white will again attack red with the 3/3 Everdon Champion. Red will choose not to block, we'll take 3 and go to 10. And then white will pass the turn. Blue untaps. Blue draws. Gets a Pilgrim's Eye. Blue will spend 3 mana to cast the Pilgrim's Eye. It is a 1/1 artifact Thopter with flying. When Pilgrim's Eye enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. It is now a 2/2 because of the favorable winds. We'll take the island and put it into our hands. We'll shuffle. We'll play the island. Then we'll spend 4 mana and play Scholar of the Stars. It is a 3/2 human artificer, and when Scholar of the Stars enters the battlefield, if you control an artifact, which we do here, draw a card. Blue draws a Wall of Mist, and then blue will pass the turn. Black untaps. Black draws, gets a Swamp. Black will play the Swamp. Black will spend 3 mana and cast Gruesome Fate. Each opponent loses 1 life for each creature you control. We control 5, so every opponent will lose 5 life. Green goes back down to 20. Black goes down to 25. Then black will attack white with the Fleshbag Marauder. Will attack green with the Graveyard Marshal, the Zombie, and the Lord of the Accursed, leaving behind the Zulaport Cutthroat. I just realized the Cutthroat's trigger shouldn't have affected red or blue, so we'll give them back 2 life apiece. Red goes back to 12, blue goes back to 11. White will block the Fleshbag Marauder with the 3/3 Gallant Cavalry. Green will put the Thopter and the Howling Golem in front of the Lord of the Accursed, and we'll put the Avatar of Growth in front of the Zombie token, and we'll take 4 from the Graveyard Marshal, taking 4 right now to go to 16. The Howling Golem will trigger off the blocking, so green will draw and get a forest. White draws and gets a Serra Angel. Blue draws and gets an island. Black draws and gets a Filigree Familiar. Red draws and gets a mountain. Black will order the damage such that the Howling Golem will die in exchange for Lord of the Accursed. So the Howling Golem dies. The Fleshbag Marauder, the Zombie, and the Lord of the Accursed all die. This triggers the Zulapur Cutthroat 3 times, and so black will gain 3 life to go up to 17. Green loses 3 life to go to 14. White loses 3 life to go to 22. And then black will spend 4 mana and cast Languish. All creatures get -4, -4 until end of turn. This will cause both of these to die. It'll trigger the Zulapur Cutthroat twice as they die, however, getting black up to 19. Green will go down to 12. White will go down to 20. This will kill all of red's creatures. This will kill everything but the Gaspark Twins. The Gallant Cavalry died while blocking, and then white will lose all of their creatures except for the 2 Dwarven Priests. Blue will lose the Scholar of the Stars and the Pilgrim's Eye. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps. Red draws. Red plays a mountain. Red has a Rolling Thunder. Counts their mana. Red will spend 3 mana to cast Act of Treason, targeting the Galta Primal Hunger. Red gets Galta Primal Hunger. Red will attack blue with Galta Primal Hunger. Seeing that this could be lethal, blue will chump with Wall of Mist, sucking up 5 of that damage to take 7 and go to 4. And then red will spend all of their remaining mana to cast Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder deals X damage as divided as you choose among any number of targets. Will target blue with all 4 of that damage so that they die and do not get Galta back. Blue has no response, takes 4 and perishes, losing everything. Galta goes back to green's graveyard. Then red passes the turn. Green untaps, draws a card, gets a forest, will play the forest. Green will attack black with the Gaspark Twins for 7. Black takes 7 and goes down to 12. Green spends 6 mana and plays a Colossal Dreadmaw. It is a 6/6 dinosaur with trample. And then green will pass the turn. White untaps. White draws, gets an Inspiring Captain. White will spend 5 mana and cast Serra Angel. It is a 4/4 angel with flying and vigilance. White will attack red with both of the Dwarven Priests for 6. Red takes 6 and goes to 6. Then white will spend 3 mana to cast Luminous Bonds, targeting the Gaspark Twins. It is an aura. It says enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, because white does not want green to finish off black, because that would cause green to win. And then white will pass the turn. Black untaps. Black draws, gets a Reassembling Skeleton. Black will play a Swamp. Black will spend 2 mana to cast Reassembling Skeleton. It is a 1/1 Skeleton Warrior, and for 1 and a black, return Reassembling Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Then black will spend 7 mana and cast Rot Hulk. It is a 5/5 zombie with menace. When Rot Hulk enters the battlefield, return up to X target zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents you have. Or we have both of our opponents remaining, so we'll return 2 cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. That will be the Fleshbag Marauder and the Lord of the Accursed. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a card, will sacrifice the Reassembling Skeleton. Green sacrifices the Gaspark Twins. White gets their Luminous Bonds back and will sacrifice a Dwarven Priest. And then black will pass the turn. Red untaps. Red draws, gets a mountain. Red will hold that as a bluff and will pass the turn. Green draws, gets a forest. Green will play the forest. Green forgot to untap. Green untaps. Green will spend 5 mana and cast Overcome. Creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn, making the Colossal Dreadmaw an 8/8. And then green will attack black with the 8/8 Colossal Dreadmaw. Black will put the Rot Hulk and the Fleshbag Marauder in its way. Everything trades. Green loses the Colossal Dreadmaw. We'll hold the forest in our hand as a bluff. Green passes the turn. White untaps. White draws. Gets a Pegasus Courser. White will spend 4 mana and cast the Inspiring Captain. It is a 3/3 human knight. When Inspiring Captain enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, making the Dwarven Priest a 4/6 and the Serra Angel a 6/6. And then white will attack red with the Sarah Angel and black with the Dwarven Priest. Red has no blocks and perishes. Black will take 4 and go to 8. White will spend 3 mana and play the Pegasus Courser. It is a 1/3 Pegasus with flying. Whenever Pegasus Courser attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. Then white will pass the turn. Black untaps. Black draws. Gets a swamp. Black will spend 3 mana to cast the Filigree Familiar. It is a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life, taking us back up to 10. And when it dies, we draw a card. Then black will pass the turn. Green untaps, pleased about the fact that they'll get a mutual victory with white. Green draws, gets Eronis' Monument. Green will spend 3 mana to cast Eronis' Monument. It is a legendary artifact. Green creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. Green will pass the turn. White untaps. White draws, gets plains. And then white will attack black with everything. And we will give the Inspiring Captain flying. We'll block the Dwarven Priest with the Filigree Familiar, but we'll take 11 damage from the flyers and black will die. This gives green and white a joint victory since they have finished off both of each other's rivals. That was a pretty exciting game of game night. Let me know what your thoughts were about the games in the comments below. I think I missed a couple rules things with opponents only being the enemy colors, but if you catch anything that I missed in editing, please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. Next time I'll be pitting these 5 decks up against the Face the Hydra Challenge deck from Theros. Until then, this was Refresh, and thanks for watching.